Who is Justin Trudeau? A man from not-so-humble beginnings, Trudeau has maintained a finger on the pulse of the Canadian people, leading to his re-election yet again in 2021. From being the son of the Canadian Prime Minister to becoming Prime Minister himself, Justin Trudeau has spent his whole life in front of cameras. But who is the man behind the curtain, in between the diplomacy and controversies of his political career? Welcome to Neapolitan. Today we're going to be looking at current Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In 2015, Trudeau refilled the shoes his father had stepped out of nearly 30 years before, emerging as a bright, fresh voice in the government. We're going to take a dive into where he's from, how he got here, and look at the man he is today. We'll be looking at it broken down into three unique sections, like Neapolitan Ice Cream, the vanilla, the who, what, where, and when of the folks that changed the world, chocolate, the flavor punch, controversy and adversity make life so interesting, and the strawberry, the lasting legacy and lick that all Neapolitan lives come with. If you're interested in other videos like this or different in-depth looks at essential people throughout history, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with post notifications so you never miss one. Without further ado, let's get into it. Vanilla. Justin Pierre James Trudeau was born December 25, 1971, to then current Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau and his wife Margaret. He is the second child in Canadian history born to a Prime Minister currently in office. He was baptized with his father's niece, Anne Rouleau Davis as godmother, and his mother's brother-in-law Thomas Walker as godfather, at the Notre Dame Basilica in Ottawa. This, on the afternoon of January 16, 1972, was his first public appearance. Justin was just 5 when his parents announced their separation in 1977, when his father was given primary custody. The divorce was finalized after years of speculation, the same year that Pierre announced his intention to retire as Prime Minister in 1984. He was expected to begin his formal education at a French lycée. Still, Trudeau's mother convinced his father that enrolling their sons in public education was important. In 1976, he was enrolled in the French immersion program at Rockcliffe Park Public School. Instead of dropping the boy off with a limousine, they elected to have him take the school bus with Royal Canadian Mounted Police in a car following. Later in life, Justin would say, of all of his family outings, he enjoyed camping with his father most. According to the Prime Minister, it was the only time his father got to just be his father. He could just be a dad in the woods. Trudeau got his Bachelor of Arts degree in Literature from McGill University, and then at the University of British Columbia, Bachelor of Education. In Trudeau's first year at McGill, he met his future Principal Secretary, Gerald Butts, through a mutual friend. Butts invited Trudeau to join the McGill Debating Union, which led the two to bond while driving back to Montreal after a debate tournament against Princeton, one of the Princeton team members being future U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. After graduation, Trudeau stayed in Vancouver to become a substitute at schools like Killarney Secondary. He'd become a permanent French and math teacher at the private school, West Point Grey Academy. He began studying engineering before starting a master's degree in environmental geography at McGill during this time. He withdrew from the program to seek public office. Trudeau, at 28, emerged as a prominent figure after delivering a eulogy at his father's state funeral. The CBC received numerous calls to rebroadcast the speech after the initial transmission. Leading Quebec politician Claude Ryan described the phenomena as a first manifestation of a destiny. In 2003, this speech was included in significant Canadian events from the past 50 years. His political career began early as he began supporting the Liberal Party as early as 1988, with the support of John Turner in the federal election. After Trudeau's father's death, he became more involved with the party through the 2000s. By 2006, he was making headlines again, criticizing Quebec's nationalism, describing the political leanings as an old idea from the 19th century. He said it was based on a smallness of thought. His comments were seen as a criticism of Michael Ignatieff. Ignatieff was a candidate in the 2006 Liberal Party leadership election, promoting recognition of Quebec as a nation. Trudeau wrote a public letter on the subject, later describing the idea of Quebec nationhood as something against everything his father believed. As early as 2007, Rumors circulated that Trudeau would run in an upcoming by-election. On April 29th, Trudeau won the party's nomination, picking up 690 votes against 350 and 220 for each opposition. In the 2008 election, Trudeau entered Parliament as an official opposition member. The Conservative Party had won a minority government. Following this win, the Globe and Mail noted that Trudeau would be viewed as other rookie MPs are, as a potential future prime minister. Thus, he would be scrutinized through that lens. He began to be floated as a potential leader in 2008, when Dion resigned. Polls showed him as a favorite among Canadians for the position. However, he did not enter the race until 2013, after Ignatieff resigned in 2011 due to poor party turnout. When interim leader Bob Rae announced he would not be joining the race in 2012, Trudeau was flooded with calls to rethink his decision not to seek the post by supporters. Initially, this decision had come due to his young family. Still, he announced he would reconsider by the end of the summer to give him time to think about it. Trudeau was elected leader of the party by 80% of the 3,000 votes. His victory recorded a surge in support for the Liberal Party. In 2015, Trudeau led the most extended campaign in over a century to win the federal election. Liberals won 184 of the 338 seats for a substantial majority of the government, gaining 150 seats more than the 2000 election had. This was the second best performance in the party's history and the most significant numerical increase in seats for any party since Confederation. It was the first time a party had rebounded from third place in the Commons to a majority government. Trudeau's success has been mainly credited, aside from the appeal of his party's platform, to his performance on both the campaign trail and televised leaders' debates. He exceeded the expectations created by conservative media outlets and advertisements. Shortly after CBC News projected early that he'd won a majority government, Trudeau declared victory to be sworn in on November 4, 2015. Chocolate. Though still in office, Trudeau had sparked controversy several times through his political career, though some came very early on. In August of 2000, while attending the Kokanee Summit in Creston, British Columbia, Justin was in attendance to raise funds in honor of his brother Michael and other avalanche victims. An unsigned editorial in the Creston Valley Advance, a local paper, accused Trudeau of having groped an unnamed female reporter at the musical festival. He provided a late-day apology to the reporter, claiming he wouldn't have been so forward if he had known she was a reporter. In 2018, the incident was brought back to light, though he said he didn't remember any adverse incidents from the time. His apology and the later statement have been described as hypocritical. However, others tell the story as a witch hunt or non-story. He made controversial headlines in 2010 when Trudeau was revealed to have earned $1.3 million in fees for public speaking at charities and school boards across Canada. Around $277,000 of those fees were received after becoming an MP. The subsequent major controversy was in 2019, during the federal election. Controversial photos of Trudeau in brown and blackface surfaced in September. Time magazine published a photograph of the Prime Minister wearing brown face makeup in 2001 at an Arabian Nights-themed gala while he was a teacher at West Point Grey Academy. Trudeau has since publicly apologized and agreed that the photo was racist. He claims that while he hadn't thought it was racist, he should have known better and recognized the harm now. He also admitted to wearing blackface makeup in high school while performing Deo at a talent show. Then, the third instance of this behavior surfaced, a video of Trudeau in racist dress. This prompted Trudeau's admission he didn't know how often he'd worn blackface makeup. Though a conspiracy theory, one common claim is that Trudeau is actually the son of the former Cuban leader, Fidel Castro. This claim surfaced around the claim that Trudeau looks like Castro. His mother, Margaret, knew Castro personally, along with the True family's habit of praising the Castros. However, this is unsubstantiated, as Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre, also looks like Castro, and the timelines for this pregnancy wouldn't have lined up. Margaret Trudeau does not have a history of keeping secrets. Her numerous autobiographical books have outlined personal details, including many of her sexual endeavors, none of which covered an affair with Fidel Castro, as it might if it occurred. Strawberry. Trudeau has since been in office since 2015, now going on 6 years. He currently holds a 39% approval rating as of March 2022. The 2021 federal election adjusted the popularities, as Liberals came in second on the popular national vote, behind the Conservatives. The 32.6% vote was the lowest percentage of the national popular vote for a governing party in Canadian history. In the meantime, his prime ministership continues to face challenges across the sea, including the government's ubiquitous support of Ukraine. Canada has the second highest Ukrainian population of any country not Ukraine in the world, behind Russia as the first. Canada has been working with allies to impose sanctions against Russia for their attack. It has been accepting refugees from the country. However, challenges are coming from there and internally, as COVID-19 restrictions continue to cause strife among constituents. This in particular has led to the recent Freedom Convoy controversies, which has taken a significant hit to the Prime Minister's popularity amongst voters. The Canada Convoy protest, called the Freedom Convoy, is an ongoing pressure in Canada, as the rally is against COVID-19 vaccine requirements for truckers to re-enter the country by land. In January, the 29th marked the first day of the protest, where the Prime Minister moved to an undisclosed location. This was the same time Trudeau announced on Twitter that he had tested positive for COVID-19 on January 31st. The demonstration developed, expressing several anti-governmental grievances, primarily against Justin Trudeau. He would say the protests were an insult to truth, though that a military response was not in the cards. On February 14th, Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act, the first time it's been enacted since becoming law in 1988, which had been the result of a public order emergency caused by demonstrators in Ottawa. In this situation, Canadians are said to equally blame Trudeau and the truckers for what has reached a boiling point. One Maru poll found that nearly 44% of participating Canadians believe the Canadian leader inflamed the crisis, and 53% of respondents think the PM looked weak in the face of threats to the country. We'll have to see how things move forward for the Prime Minister, and if these abysmal ratings hurt him as much as some critics believe, or if this is not the political suicide that it seems on numbers alone. If you like this video and want to see more like it, then make sure you leave a like, so we know what you think and can continue to bring you the kind of videos you want to see. Let us know if you think there's anything we missed or if you'd like to see someone in particular in the future. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the material we've shown or other videos like this. Check out the other videos on the channel for fascinating looks into historical figures, just like this. Until next time, this has been Neapolitan, and we'll see you around.